Hello, everyone. Good evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 6A. Myself, Rishita Sauryan, and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 8th International Conference on Information and Communication Technology for Competitive Strategies, ICTCS 2023. The 8th edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event is organized today in Jaipur, India, and the virtual event was held yesterday and is taking place today, that is 8th and 9th of December 2023. I hope you all will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. In this session, we have 10 presentations. Each presenter will be given 8 minutes for the presentations and 2 minutes for the question and answers. On 7 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to the chair for this session. We have with us Dr. Swati Nikam. Dr. Swati Nikam has total 20 years of teaching experience in computer engineering and currently is working as Associate Professor, Pimpri Chichwad College of Engineering and Research, Pune, India. She completed PhD from SPPU Pune. Her research areas are cyber physical systems, information security, Internet of Things. She has published more than 30 plus research papers in reputed international journals and conferences. Currently, she's working as departmental PhD coordinator, R&D coordinator, and for NIRF, NBA, NAC also. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Without further ado, we'll now begin with the paper presentations. Our first presenter for the session is Lydia Ardaria with a paper titled Controlled Oscillator for ADC Unit. You may start with your presentation, ma'am.
Actually, she's in the waiting room and she's unable to join the meeting. I think she's trying. So meanwhile, we can take the next presentation.
Sure, we can just move on with the next presenter. I'd like to invite presenter Gargi Dole with a paper titled Correlation Analysis between INR USD exchange rates and public sentiments using Twitter. You may start with your presentation.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Just sharing my screen.
No issues.
Am I audible as well as my PPT is visible?
Yes, your PPT is visible and you are audible.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very good afternoon to one and all. Myself, Gargi Yogesh Dorle. I'm here to present my research on the paper titled Correlation Analysis between INR USD exchange rates and public sentiments using Twitter. The agenda for today would be introduction, problem statement, literature survey, sentiment analysis, methodology, and the results and conclusions obtained on the same. So, if markets are conversations and social media, if markets are conversations, then social media is the largest global conversation humanity has ever had. On the basis of this, I have decided over to use Twitter as my main app for my research. In the world of Twitters and rates, every character counts, both in currency and sentiment. This study embarks on utilization of NLP to unravel the correlation between 280 character musings and economic shifts. We have tried to offer a unique perspective on public sentiment's impact and on currency values. Going further, my problem statement consists of 4 important parameters, which include examining sentiments expressed on tweeters, utilizing natural language processing techniques, investigating the sentiments related to the currency exchange rate, and finally analyzing the sentiments specifically between India and United States. As we all know, United States is the largest economy in the world and India stands third. So before we turn into what I actually researched on, I would like to give you a brief overview of the 4 papers that I found the limitations in. So of all the paper that I found on the sentiment analysis, there were a few papers of which the limitations I have tried to overcome in my paper. So in the paper titled Sentiment Analysis Using Twitter Data by QIY and Shabrina, they capture there was a limitation of capturing of evolving language trends. Then in the paper, there was a limitation of hyperparameter tuning, which causes overfitting of the model. In the papers that were researched before, in the research of the papers before, there were some predefined dictionary of words and phrases that were used, and the new phrases and the new words which are utilized today are not really taken into consideration. Also, there is a fine line between correlation and causation, which I have had to try to explore on. Going further, my methodology consisted of a decision tree model which helped in prediction of the currency rate. So just to give you a quick overview of why this was necessary so that we can actually understand it better, let us consider an example which consists of, I do not wish to carry an umbrella today. So the words do and not are going to reflect on a negative sentiment when they are passed through the sentiment analyzer module. But can we really predict what happens after 15 days or 20 days? For predicting that, we need to understand what really happens or what is the weather after 15 days. So on the same lines and again the same analogy, I have decided to use a decision tree regressor model, which is actually going to predict what is the value of INR in terms of USD, so that not only today's sentiment, but also after 15 days, if you want to know what will be the basic perspective of public sentiment, that can be analyzed. The second part was sentiment analysis, actual sentiment analysis, which comprised of actually compiling the tweets of India and USA, then removing the irrelevant characters and URLs, further doing tokenization, categorization of polarity, and then assessing the model's performance, and finally doing the result analysis. On the basis of these methodologies carried, these were the results obtained. The decision tree regressor module gave a R-square value and an accuracy of 0.91, which is pretty good. The closer the value is to 1, the better is the model. On the basis of this strong foundation, we found out the INR on USD ratio, and the polarity was the output, which gave further predicted the sentiment for the model. So as you can see, 81.5 reflected on a polarity of minus 0.126. A negative term indicates a negative sentiment, and 0.00 indicates a neutral sentiment. The values fluctuate from minus 1 to 1. Positive sentiment is in between. Any positive score indicates positive sentiment. So this is a brief overview of all the results that were obtained and compiled. This is the bar chart which was obtained. Of all the total extracted tweets, 45% accounted for business models, 26% accounted for government, 18% citizen, and 11% others. These others included the spam accounts. So if you can at one frame of time in 24-hour reference frame, if we consider the tweets extracted from India and USA on the same lines, then we understand that the INR USD ratio, as the value of the ratio increases, the sentiment score also decreases. This line indicates the same. On the same lines, when the INR to USD ratio falls or increases, then in USA, the sentiment score increases. So the results were perspective, on the basis of perspective. And as this accounted for the business models, the results were obtained on the similar lines. Moving further, I would like to conclude that the tweet distribution revealed a diverse sentiment landscape, accounting for 20% of neutral, 39% negative, and 41% positive sentiments. The study emphasized the correlation between negative sentiments and fluctuations in INR and USD. Negative sentiments were often related to the government policies, and they impacted the currency values. The four main parameters which found out to be having an intricate interplay in the currency exchange rates were public opinions, economic factors, and global sentiments. The advantages in application of running a model as interdisciplinary as this includes improve in the economic trend.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah, you can carry in.
Yes, thank you. So again, it also enhances the understanding of how consumer sentiments influence economic dynamics, aiding policymakers and businesses in making informed decisions. This model can also be utilized by the government to use sentiment analysis to assess public relations. Predictive models can be developed supplementary to the already existing models, and they can anticipate the market trends and fluctuation based on the sentiment indicators. Future scope of this model is diverse. Research sentiment analysis on diverse social media platforms beyond Twitter, aiming to identify the most efficient platform for capturing sentiments, can be done. analysis of the impacts of events like Twitter's viewing restrictions, which is 1,000 right now, and Meta's Threads launch, which carried a huge user shift from Twitter to Meta, can be also accounted for. The inclusion of Twitter notes and increasing the character count can be taken into consideration. Future research can delve into the consequences of India's mineral oil leaks, as there was very recently there was a deal between India and UAE, which was done for the mineral oil, and it was done completely in Indian national rupees, barring the barrier of USD. So the consequences of events like these can be studied. And obviously, other social media apps can be explored for performing similar analysis, and we can actually identify the most efficient platform. These were some of my references, and I would like to thank you for lending a patient ear. I am open for the questions.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Gargi, thank you for the presentation. My question is, what were the challenges you found during this study?
Yes. Thank you for the question, ma'am. Ma'am, I think deciding upon the most influential model which can really predict what happens after 15 days or 20 days, taking into account the data set that we have today, was the most challenging task. I researched upon linear regression models, then CNN models, and various other models, but decision tree regressor came out to be the best because we cannot really predict what happens in currency today, and decision tree really takes into account the factor of uncertainty. So I think the most important challenge was identifying the machine learning model for doing this research.
Okay, thank you, Gargi.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll be moving ahead with our next presenter. I'd like to invite Venkam Miraju to present
Yeah,
a work
thank you.
titled Digitalization of the Apparel Industry, the Impact of COVID-19. So please go ahead.
Yeah, Ishita, my screen is visible now.
Not yet, sir.
Just now I shared. Yeah, now it's okay, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for opportunity, Ishita, and this conference team. My title is Distillation of the Apparel Industry, the Impact of COVID-19. So myself and my colleagues Sunita and Vibhar and Hari Krishna Vidya, we all together worked for this paper, and it's a purely review paper and qualitative research paper, and we have interviewed more than 50 people, those who are closely involved in this apparel industry, textile industry after and during the COVID pandemic time. So this is completely qualitative research paper. And introduction. The apparel industry is a fragile industry as fashion keeps updating. One of the one of the worst hit by the COVID-19, however, became an early adapter of this outbreak. Technological advancement has played a prominent role and helped different people in this industry sustain themselves during the most challenging times of the COVID. JERA did one of the best implementation of digitalization in these testing times of COVID, and a part of this paper discussed the same. Hence, it would be correct to state that distillation helped developing this whole apparel industry to a new level by bringing more comfort to its end users. In this paper, we try to understand the effects of COVID-19 on the textile industry through data collected from the interviews with the aggrieved parties. Further, we try to present the effect of distillation on the industry through the recent literature surveyed. The literature review, we have referred more than 67 articles related to this particular industry and distillation effect on impact on the apparel industry. And also we have interviewed more than 50 apparel industry core managers and entrepreneurs. And the pandemic era effect on the apparel industry, how this COVID-19 affected apparel industry, the apparel industry looks a tremendous hit due to this outbreak. Since imposition of lockdown affected the industry, supply chain has this industry is majorly dependent on the physical workers. So its impact can also be noticeable in the global production system, triple hit: demand disturbance, supply demolition, and reduction. So complete supply chain has spoiled in this particular industry, particularly even after revival from the COVID-19 effect also. So apparel industry people faced majorly two problems. One is they could not dump their stocks out. They could not send their already produced stocks to the outside, and they could not get their raw material for the new orders. So these two problems faced due to the complete down of the supply chain process. Change in working structure. To cope with the prevailing situation, various companies have to work by applying several strategies. Given the pandemic long-term impact on the whole economy, companies are trying to apply various working models to cope up with this crisis. Few such strategies are: firstly, targeting different geographical markets for the production of the apparel that have ease of doing business restrictions. Secondly, making changes in their distribution channels as per new norms set by the government. And finally, exploring various operations models. So these are the reviewed paper. Through reviewed papers, we have understand that so many changes have been adapted by the government. The travel industry also plays a prominent role in this affecting apparel industry. The travel industry come to a halt due to these various fashion shows and mega fashion events were forced to be cancelled, as their investors from around the globe will not be able to attend these events. Hence, immobility resultant from travel restrictions profoundly impacted on the apparel industry and became a challenge for them to fulfill their demand without being physically present. Application of distillation in the apparel industry. So there is no alternative ways, and forcefully all the apparel industry people started implementing distillation in their industries, and they have developed their own mobile apps, and they have developed website links and website announcements, advertisements in the close circles and friend circles and existing customer circle. So today most customers prefer the online mode of purchasing in the current digitalized environment, and the distillation comes with immense benefits and equivalent cost. So it was a great challenge to shift to the digital platform in a short period, as making balance between maintaining health and work life was quite challenging. Another noticeable challenge was lack of advanced skill set in the marketing team and those who are involved in the sales and the marketing and the promotional of this textile and apparel skill set among employees. Hence, companies should develop the skill set of their employees. They understand. Even government can take multiple steps to focus on the development of digital infrastructure by introducing huge bandwidth and by reducing the prices of these infrastructure and providing allocating more budgets for these infrastructural developments in the particularly industrial area where apparel and textile industries are established. So application of distillation by Jara. We took one case study, the Jara industry, which is a famous and well-known in the apparel industry. Jara is one of the most successful brands in the apparel industry, with multiple stores across the nations globally. As all the industries were being affected, Jara's sale got dipped. A majority of sales of Jara were from physical stores, and Jara was able to clear up its inventory in a short period by providing huge discount on its website and application compared with its physical stores. Jara could recover its sales by 90% compared with pre-pandemic times by the end of October. This result was only possible due to its focus on the distillation of the organization. So Jara immediately clicked by adopting the distillation process in their sales and promotional process. That's why they have clicked, but of course they also faced some problem. Next, methodology. I already explained to you that we interviewed 50 respondents, those who were involved in this apparel industry, but repeatedly we are getting the same responses from the respondent. That's why we have stopped with our interviews with the 50 respondents, and some 67 articles around also we have reviewed. And results thematic, we successfully look at the survey and analyze the results. After a few sample responses, we found that response were repeating similarly. And these kind of statements we received, see, there is no harm in stocking this necessities rather than neglecting after, as our inventory will get empty at the end. We can postpone buying apparel for now. Respondents' response also reflected their concern with about issues like due to lack of labor, our supply has taken a big hit. Although demand is good as it is to do with health, labor is not ready to come back to work like earlier days due to lack of raw material. So because the supply chains also affected apparel industries, they could not provide the raw materials on time to fulfill and to execute their orders. Results of thematic 2 also. 3. So all these responses, what we have received from the interviewed candidates, and discussion and conclusion I'm coming. It could be correct to state that COVID pandemic affected people's lives both in a good and bad manner. We found that people adapted the change in the industry as an indicator for future opportunities and took full advantage of it with implementation of digitalization. However, some people did fall apart as they could not foresee the market trends signals, which led to the downfall of their businesses. So, however, only a handful of people could make the best of the situation, which acted as life-changing decisions by bringing revolutionary change in their working patterns in the industry, providing a competitive edge for future endeavors. So, these are few references which we have reviewed. I'm able to put in the slide. That's it. Please, if you have any questions, please you can ask. This is my presentation.
Yes, thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
My question is, what are the other models
Other
you have
model.
studied?
So here we used only interview model, and we have reviewed some literature, published articles and research papers in this. We took interviews and qualitative research method completely this one. And review paper, we can say.
So what software you used to do the thematic analysis?
Software, we call them, because there's no any software we use, but we call them personally. We met some people and we have used WhatsApp calls. Mostly we used video calls. We fixed meetings and we have used video calls. And we have.
So I'm just talking about the analysis software. What kind of analysis software that you used for presenting the thematic representation? Like quantitative data, when you are using some software. Similarly, how do you arrive at this particular
really, yeah, really, I didn't expect this question. Actually, this analysis part being taken by my other course others.
No problems. Just for clarifications.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ishita.
Thank you. Now since Lydia is back with us, we'll be moving ahead with Lydia to present a paper titled Controlled Oscillator for ADC Unit. Please go ahead.
Ishita, I have a doubt. Can I move out because I have some other presentation?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure. No issue.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Vidya, you may start your presentation.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, everybody. We have me, myself, and my mentor, Sunita VB ma'am. We have done a paper on control oscillation for ADC unit. So this is basically a subsystem for another system, which is a major project in RF. These are my contents. Coming to the introduction, a controlled oscillator, why we are using this is we are trying to create a frequency. Now we are giving an input frequency of 56 megahertz and we are trying to convert it into another form of frequency signal, which is an intermediate frequency, and trying to give this signal as an input for our ADC unit, which is an analog to digital converter. So in radio frequency, this oscillator circuit, it is used to generate our output signals and these specific frequency signals. And these frequency signals, these can be adjusted according to the whatever we can control them, and we can do it externally. For example, here we have used a local oscillator, and this gives an external frequency of 7 megahertz, and it is a type of oscillator which is used in various electronic devices, and this will also help us to generate stable oscillations. The main use of this local oscillator was to generate stable oscillations at a specific frequency. Here we are using 7 megahertz as a specific frequency, and it works along with a mixer. Here we have used harmonic mixers, and we will be using 11th harmonic and 12th harmonic, which we will be seeing in the further diagrams. So along with a mixer, and this will convert our input radio frequency into a intermediate frequency. And this process also allows us to have amplification and filtering processes, and they will make this process easier. So this is my problem statement. I want to give an input RF signal as 56 megahertz, and I want to convert it into 84 megahertz with the help of a mixer. So here the input signal is a RF signal, and we are expecting an intermediate frequency signal of 84 megahertz. So these are my review papers. They have many papers which I have referred, but these from here we have learned the most. From the first paper, we learned about the harmonic mixer and how to use it into our system. And from the second paper, we use the functionality of controls. And from the third paper, we also learned about more harmonics. That is why we have extracted 11th and 12th harmonic, which we felt was the best for this project. So coming to the methodology, here we have the block diagram of a controlled oscillator. We are giving an input of 56 megahertz, which is a sine wave signal. And here we will be using multiple filters and amplifiers and flip-flops together to form it into a 7 megahertz frequency. And this signal intermediately we will be checking. If we look at the block where it says detector, comparator, and D flip-flop, here we will be also receiving a OK signal. And we will look at this diagram in detail in the following slides. This is just the outline. Okay, we will be taking this 56 megahertz signal and converting it into a 7 megahertz signal, and taking the 11th harmonic of that, and we will be adding a 7 megahertz signal through a local oscillator and then subtracting it with the output of this first filter, and we will get 70 megahertz here. And then we will be taking the 12th harmonic of the signal, which will give us 84 megahertz. And that will be our output signal. And we will also add an extra block here, which is a detector and comparator block, which will detect if we have received this signal or not. Coming to our softwares, we have used OrCAD capture software to design the circuit and the internal block circuit diagrams. And then we have used LT-Spice to simulate each of the IC which has been used in this project. So coming to the implementation, if we look at our block diagram, at first we were giving a 56 megahertz input signal, and this is given to a low pass filter. Here we are using a low pass filter to cut off any unwanted signals above our cutoff frequency. And from here it is passed through a non-inverting amplifier. This is just to amplify whatever signal we have received. And the power source for which we are giving to this amplifier is 5 volts, and the gain which is generated through this is around 2 dB. And here this output from this non-inverting amplifier is again given back to the inverting amplifier. Here it is given to the inverting terminal of this amplifier. Hence the output will have 180 degrees of phase shift, and more gain of 3 dB is generated here. And this output is again given to quad flip-flop. And to this clock quad flip-flop, this output will act as a clock to this flip-flop, and it is given to the inverter. Here, if you see, this signal is passing through 2 blocks. One is it is going to the quad flip-flop, and another signal is going to the detector block. Here in the detector block. So if we see what is happening here is we are trying to detect if this 56 megahertz signal is present or not in the input side. So when we give it to the detector block and then compare it, we are comparing it to a V reference of around 1.7 volts. And if this input signal is equal to this 1.7 volts, then a high signal is sent to this D flip-flop. Here it tells us that, okay, we have received the 56 megahertz signal and we can go ahead with the further process. So this is just like a test signal that we are using. So in the next block, we can see that the output of that quad flip-flop here is going through another filter. Here we will be using a harmonic filter. Here we will be taking the 11th harmonic of that filter, which will convert this 7 hertz to 77 megahertz. And we will be giving it into an amplifier circuit to further amplify the signal. And this block is also added to further amplify the signal. And we will be adding that 77 megahertz signal through a mixer. And into a mixer, we are also generating this frequency of 6.95 to 1.128. This frequency can vary between 6.95 to 7.12 megahertz. This is generated through a local oscillator and then we are adding it to a mixer. Here our signal is from RF amplifier, we are getting it inverted amplifier here. And the output of this frequency is also again given to another filter. Here we are taking the 12th harmonic of the filter. So at last we will be getting a 84 megahertz signal. So here to this block diagram, what we are trying to do is we are using a non-inverting amplifier to amplify whatever signal we have received and then giving it to a filter and attenuator. If there is any extra power that is received in the signal which is not tolerated by the devices which we are using, at that time the signal gets attenuated by using this. And we are also adding another block to this, which is to detect if we have received this 84 megahertz signal or not. For that, we are again using a detector block and then an ultra fast comparator block. And this was the result. We created this PCB design. And if you see, this will give us local oscillations to our circuit, and here we will be visualizing if the signal is received or not. And this was when we tested for keeping this pin at a OK signal. If we come back to the block diagram, here we can see that we are passing it to get OK signal for 56 megahertz, and that is what we are trying to show here. If we have gotten this voltage, which is 4.9 volts, that means we have received that signal. And here this was a constant input of 56 megahertz. And then the local oscillator input, we were shifting it in terms of 10 kilohertz and trying to get the output, which was 84 megahertz. And this would be given as an input to our next block, which is our ADC unit. And to conclude, I can say that we have achieved what we tried to do here. And for future scope, we can get more accuracy by using better filters. And this can be used in military applications. These are the references. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the presentation, wonderful presentation. My question is, what was the case study or what was the application for which you have designed this?
We have this has been done in our industry, ma'am. Here we were working on a system where we would send a signal to friend or foe in a bigger RF amplifier system. So in that bigger block, this was a small unit where we had to create 84 megahertz frequency to give it to analog to digital converter as an input.
So what was the, is there any special need to design it? I'm not able to understand that part.
Yes, ma'am. Usually we are giving an input of RF frequency and we are trying to generate a IF frequency, ma'am, by using a mixer and a local oscillator. So the characteristics of this RF signal is changed when we do this process. So we are trying to keep a constant input through a local oscillator, and then we are trying to get a varied output.
Okay. And what other filters would impact this? I mean, the choice of the filters, you would say?
We have harmonic filters. We have data sheets for those filters, ma'am. So looking at that, we have designed the parameters, and designing this parameter point was a little difficult.
Okay. Okay, then. That's all from my side.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Vidya. We'll be moving ahead with our next presenter. I'd like to invite presenter Harish Parmar to present the paper titled ECC-based hybrid approach. ECC-based hybrid approach for data security.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead.
My screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Great. Okay. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Myself Harish Kumar, and today we will discuss about the data communication. Right? It's a general term. What we all know that what is a data communication or wireless communication, right? But here we are more focusing on how to secure the data when we are transferring data from one node to another node, one device to another device, for one network to another network, right? So today we are more focusing on ECC based hybrid approach for data security for MANET, that's a mobile ad hoc network. We are using a ECC model as well as EES model, advanced encryption standard. We will discuss later on. Let's start. Okay. Now, abstract. Today, what is the meaning of wireless communication? Before we know about the AES or ECC or MANET, it is required to know about the wireless communication. So wireless communication, that means a day-to-day activity which is going on, it is with the help of wireless communication. And it is become a popular from day to day. And the reason become popularity is only one, it requires a less power, right? Power in terms of everything, right? It's the electricity or less device, less hardware, so less power, lower cost. Of course, you are using a less material or less people, lower cost will be there. And wireless sensor network, multi-purpose sensor node, that means a one node sensor can work in a multiple area, right? So these three combinations makes a wireless communication in day-to-day more popular, right? And that's why we can say that a wireless communication means anybody can access anywhere, anytime. And that's why it's become a more popular. Now, question is that, okay, without the assistance, okay, one more advantage of the wireless communication is that, okay, they do not require a centralized system. Now, the question has to be arise, okay, why centralized system is also there? What is the reason wireless communication now moving on a decentralized mechanism? Because the reason is that when we are using a centralized mechanism, administration, our data has to be transferred from the centralized system, and it sometimes it takes a time. In delay is there, latency is there, and to remove these problems, we are using a wireless communication, right? Now, next is that, okay, ad hoc joining and departing. One more advantage, third one, okay, when we are using a wireless network, node can directly connected with another node, one node connected with another network, or one network is connected with another network, right, at any time. And in this, they do not require to predefined topologies as well as routing table, because when some packet is transferred from one node to another node, one network to another network, they are deciding the topology and routing table based on the current scenario which is going on in the network, right? So this is the third advantage. Here my paper is mainly focusing on secure data transmission and management using ECC model, using MANET and AES model. We will discuss later on. But with the help of this, what we achieved, right? We achieved PDR, that means packet delivery ratio 8 to 10%, and throughput 10 to 12%, right? Next one. WSN, wireless sensor network. Okay, wireless sensor network can be defined as a diverse system that integrates a small scale sensor. Of course, I have talked with that. A small scale network sensor, that means sensors which work on a multiple dimension, as well as they require less power, right? And that's why it become a more popular, because it's a cost effective. Here you can find that it's a low power and cost effective. These nodes will be strategically positioned to observe and influence the surrounding environment. Yes, of course, here you do not require to predefine the topologies or any you can say network structure. Why? Because node can decide own topology, own in terms of what topology is beneficiary for this network, based on the traffic, based on the latency, based on the throughput. Based on that, it decides. Next one. Here, wireless sensor network, I have proposed some basic, right? User can connect with the internet. Of course, internet is there. Base station is there. Base station by which we can transfer the data. Here you can find the right hand side, you can find the number of node. Here, node can directly connect with another node without any interference. Okay, wireless network, infrastructure network and ad hoc. Wireless network is mainly divided into two parts right now. In a current scenario, infrastructure network and ad hoc network. Now, what is the meaning of infrastructure and ad hoc? Infrastructure network, okay, before that, we will discuss, okay, what is the challenging of MANET. MANET means mobile ad hoc network. We have learned wireless sensor network, wireless communication. Now, third one is a MANET. Wireless transmission range is constrained. Here, in a MANET, what is the biggest disadvantage? A transmission range. When we are transferring a challenge, you can say that, okay, when we are transferring the data from one device to another device, one node to another node, transmission range is constrained, because you cannot transfer the data in long range, right? Of course, you want to transfer, then you require to reproduce the power, okay, so that packet can travel long time, right? But it's a major kind of challenge for a MANET. The nature of wireless connection characteristics varies with the time, of course, based on the time, based on the traffic, based on the environment. Our nature of wireless connection is affected, right? Every time we require to maintain a routing table. Why? Because in a MANET, all can be done with the help of centralized system. So when we transfer from one node to another node, first of all, we have to register in the routing table. Routing table find the next shortest path, and after that we can move from one source to destination. So this is the challenging, right? Next one is a security. Of course, in MANET right now we are getting a high security, but in day to day, how we can get a more secure, and that's why we can combine a three approach: MANET, ECC, and AES, right? Now, ECC, elliptic curve cryptography. Here, elliptic curve cryptography comes under a public key. We know that there are two kind of cryptography, a public key and private key. We all know that a public key, that means the key which is available to all the user, and with the help of this user key, everyone can encrypt the data. And private key, that means it is available to only sender or receiver. Suppose I am a sender, you are receiver. So if I want to send the data, then I can simply send my data on the network. Anyone in the device can get this data, but they cannot open it. Why? Because the data is open with the private key, and the private key is available only at destination side, right? So public key used for encryption most of the time. It's not mean that the public key is only used for encryption. No, but most of the time public key used for the encryption and private key used for the decryption. So this is an elliptic curve cryptography mechanism, public key and private key, right? Here, next one is a MES, M-A-E-S, right? Modified AES. Till now we know about the AES, advanced encryption standard, but here we are talking about the modified AES. Modified AES, that means here we are more focusing on byte and bit level. Of course, now the data is more when we are sending a data, for us it's data. On the backend side, it's a bit and byte level, right? So here we are more focusing on 128-bit key size. So you can assume that what kind of data we can say that in an AES we can send data in byte and bit level, but with the help of 128 bits key size. So that's why it's a more secure, more flexible, right? And if we want to, someone can enter in between this, it's not possible to, assume it or to crack it. So this is a more mainly security mechanism. Now, these are four phases which what we have suggest: substitution byte, mix column, shift rows, and add round key. This is for encryption side, right? You can say that. And if you want to perform a decryption, then reverse process. Substitution, that means whatever the data we have, we can decide some other modules, mode of data. We can substitute. That means this data can be substituted by some other bytes, right? For you can say it's become a ciphertext, right? Mix column, right? You can say shifting, right? So that it's more secure. Shift rows, row shift, shift, and add round key. That means this is the fourth step which we have proposed for the encryption, and the reverse for decryption. Encryption will add sender, and decryption for receiver side, right? Now this is my proposed model, right? Okay. Yes, this algorithm, I will explain these steps in the algorithm. Start initializing basic parameter node initial. First of all, sender can decide, or sender can say that, okay, which node we are using to send the data, which one is the sender, right? So initializing basic parameter, okay, what parameters from our side and which node we are using to send the data. Start finding a
Excuse me,
destination
sir.
node in Yep.
So this is just a gentle reminder for the time limit. I'm really
Yes,
sorry.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Start finding destination node in coverage area and network infrastructure. Of course, we are finding a destination node, whether it is in our area or some other network. Third one is a broadcaster request. If the node is not available, destination node is not available in the broadcast in our network, then we can simply broadcast it and find the destination node. Once we find the destination node, then sender send the acknowledgement to the receiver. Receiver receive it, and after that, sender send the data using the ECC, AES, and MANET. Now this is my parameter which I have used for a MATLAB, right? And at a conclusion base, I can say that, okay, this is my result, right? Here you can find the first, I have PDC, what I PDR, packet delivery ratio. You can find the 10 to 12%, and throughput, you can find it, it increase. As well as throughput is increased, packet delivery ratio is increased, and my security is also increased, because I have used ECC, AES, modified AES, and MANET, right? And conclusion, in a future, this is my proposed, in the future I am using a hyper ECC, right? It is only proposed model, right? So in a future I will use a hyper ECC with the AES, and security may be improved with the help of this. Yeah, this is from my side, and this is my reference. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay.
Hello, thank you
Yeah,
for
ma'am.
your for the wonderful presentation. I have two questions.
Yep.
Like, what are the probable attacks you see on this combination? And secondly, what would be your solution on that?
Okay, ma'am, attack, that means there is no specific attack we are focusing on, but we are more focusing on, instead of attack, we are more focusing on time, speed, throughput. We are more focusing on that. First question's answer. And the second one, what is the question, ma'am? Can you repeat?
Sir, but let me continue for the first question. But when
Yeah.
you talk about the security in management, right, for the data security, so there we need to cross check for the attacks also, no?
Okay, ma'am, there are a number of attacks in the MANET. MANET is a mobile ad hoc network. There are a number of attacks going on in day-to-day activity. There is no specific attack we can say that we are more focusing on this attack. No, in general term, we are talking about general term. We are not focusing on specific attack, because we are more focusing on the key size, 128-bit key size, as well as bit and byte level. We are applying this key on bit and byte level, right? So this is our proposed model.
What would be the size in the AES?
Ma'am, AES right now we are more focusing on, of course, AES, that means 64-bit to 256-bit, right? Advanced encryption standard is mainly focusing on 256-bit, right? But here we are more focusing on 512-bit, right? It is proposed, right? We have not implemented, and based on that we can get this result. But actually, when we apply in the real network, right, its scenario will be different.
Yes, and what I would like to add into this is, when you are proposing some combination, no, so you'll have to take into care the proposed attacks also, like how secure
Sure.
and you'll be providing. Then only you'll be able to compare like AES and then modified AES, and then this combination ECC, then modified AES, and that too into managed scenario.
Of course, next time definitely we will take care about it. Okay, what kind of net attack we have to mention. But right now we have not mentioned, because ma'am, right now we are focusing on the key size, nothing else. So that's why.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So ma'am, can we leave, because my meeting is going on backside?
Yes, sir. Sure, you can leave.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have our next presenter, Sandeep TK, with the paper titled Exploring ICT as a Catalyst for Technological Adoption, Insights from Action Research. Sir, you may please start your presentation.
Just 1 second. I'll share my screen, madam.
Yes, sir.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Should I make it? Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to present the topic on exploring ICT as a catalyst for the technology adoption. So before moving to the before moving to the topic, I just want to introduce the concept, what actually it is. So this paper is an outcome of a prestigious project called Living Lab in our university. So the concept of Living Lab is, a team of students from various streams with faculty members. They do spend around 15 to 20 days, full day, in a remote village with the villagers and all, and we'll identify their problems and their situation. And as a practical solution, we do recommend certain idea or solution to the problems. So that is what happened, and this paper is also the outcome of the Living Lab project. So title is Exploring ICT as a Catalyst for Technological Adoption. And situation review. Swachh Bharat initiative has undeniably made remarkable strides in providing sanitation infrastructure in Indian families. However, persisting challenges of open defecation in rural villages, despite of infrastructure development, highlight the complex nature of this issue. So a kind of critical transformation is required. So we stayed there in the village of Raichur for almost 15 to 20 days. And we identified the open defecation extending far beyond hygiene concern. It directly affects community health, poses environmental hazards, and influences the overall well-being of the population. So addressing this issue is not a just matter of infrastructure, but a fundamental requirement of community prosperity. So the methodological approach we identified is participatory rural appraisal PRA for active community engagement and human-centered design HCD for a user-centric design process. So action research transform insight into tangible outcome, fostering a comprehensive understanding of community needs. So these are the objectives we identified for the study. Assess effectiveness of awareness campaigns in Mamdadodi village. The village we selected is Mamdadodi in Raichur district. Identify challenges hindering open defecation eradication. Utilize participatory tools for comprehensive insight. And also explore ICT for systematic awareness program management. So PRA is active engagement of local residents using tools like community mapping, transit walks, and seasonal calendars, aims to empower the community to share their valuable insights, ensuring a holistic understanding of challenges. Human-centered design, HCD emphasize a user-centric approach to design, tailoring interventions to the specific needs and preference of the community, focused on creating contextuality, relevant and effective strategies for open defecation-free communities. So this is actually an interdisciplinary team approach. We do have students from engineering background, arts and science, medicine, and many other streams. And we stayed the community 10 plus days. And in the initial stage, like ice breaking session, so we can gel up with the village people. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the methodology, study adopts a multi-phased methodology strategically combined approaches like PRA, then HCD, and action research, meaning the translated gathered insight into practical outcomes, emphasizing a hands-on participatory approach, facilitated a deeper understanding of the community's need and challenges through real-world engagement. So this methodological concept not only captures the richness of the community dynamics, but also empowers us to propose effective context-sensitive solutions to that. Tools we used as resource map and income and expenditure kind of thing as a direct communication with the village people. Seasonal calendar, we map the activities for 12 months related to water, sanitation, health, agriculture, and all those things. And then highlighted the impact of seasons on productivity and hygiene challenges. problem tree illustrated the challenges after the data collection. The problem tree illustrated the challenges in agriculture, water, sanitation, more, and identified waste management and opentification as the common challenges. So these are the evidences for the brainstorming sessions. We do have, in this 15 days time, we had different brainstorming session with the youngsters, community people, and Anganwadi, and many other government officers, doctors, many other people. So these are the objective, these are the 4 elements in the particular brainstorming session. Facilitate discussion, encourage diverse perspectives and insight. So collective prioritization of the challenges to ensure a comprehensive consideration. So it enhances the collaboration, fostering a holistic understanding and all those things. So identified challenges. After all those methods, we identify that opentification is the most important thing, and followed by waste management and health risk based on the previous factors, and the technological barriers. Limited technological adoption in certain communities hinders the implementation of ICT-driven solutions. So bridging the digital divide as a crucial successful technology-based interventions. So this model we developed an ICT architecture. This architecture visualized the transformative approach, combining cloud-based solution and real-time data analysis for efficient sanitation intervention. When it comes to the result, the study in Raichur district revealed that persistent challenges in opentification and slow adoption of toilet technology. So despite improved infrastructure, economic struggles in Mamradodi village impact the sanitation practices. Seasonal dynamics exhibit health risk, emphasizing the need of tailored programs considering cultural norms. So action research highlights successful community-led initiative and effective use of ICT in awareness campaign, indicating the importance of nuanced, culturally sensitive approach for sustainable change. So the recommendation is based on all these studies, community finance support, establish community fund for financial aids, and tailored cultural awareness, design culturally specific programs. So on ICT skill building, focus on the digital empowerment for the community, especially with the mobile phone and other portable devices and its implications in the real life situation. And the government community task force form collaborative groups for joint decision making. That's a wonderful point that we identified, because there are a lot of NGOs who are actively participating in the campaigns and the continuous feedback. It is not like just implementing one thing at a time and not doing anything. So implement real-time feedback mechanisms are really important. And the living labs expansion, because we selected only one village. So similarly, we need to expand all those things in multiple villages so that we can concentrate on more issues and problem solving methodologies. So the future scope, scaling successful invention, exploring scaling to neighboring regions, collaborating with local authorities, long-term monitoring and evaluation, because monitoring and evaluation is very important to run the program for future periods. And as I mentioned, expansion of the Living Lab program to many other geographical areas. So future scope was also identified, like research in evolving challenges, because post-pandemic situation and digital empowerment initiative like literacy programs and mobile application, then collaborative part. The government cannot make all these things, but with the help of NGOs and established other bodies, we can do wonders. So these are the references for this paper, ma'am. With that, thank you so much. And the floor is open for the discussion.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. My question is, first of all, what is that live-in lab concept? And second question is, of the study, how would you implement? I mean, which area you are planning to focus on?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the concept of living lab is a very prestigious program in our university. So as part of their curriculum, they are supposed to select this 3-credit paper in their semester 5 and semester 6, and engineering students semester 7 and 9. So what they do is that they will, the central team will identify the very remote villages, and as a team of engineering, arts, commerce, humanities, and medicine, maybe 10 or 15 students with the 2 or 3 faculty members, we do spend our time in very remote villages. It's not like staying only a few hours or something. It is 24/7. So 15 to 20 days we stay with the village people, and we'll gel with them and we'll interact with them, day-to-day activities and many other things, so that we can identify their personal problems, and they do share all those things. And as a team of expert, we do recommend some practical solutions for that. So when you are spending 10 or 15 days of full time in the villages, we can definitely identify what is the most important program, because simultaneously 10 or 15 teams are visiting in the same villages. So all together we will identify the common and the most important problem, and then as a team of experts from various streams, we do practically implement the solution. So for this open defecation problem, we one-to-one we visited the house, and we made all those things awareness with the help of mobile phone and the community groups, Anganwadi and NGOs and other things, and follow up of the material. I mean, follow up of the particular concept also helped a lot in the 20 days of time, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll be proceeding ahead with our next presenter. I'd like to invite Kanaya Jija to present his paper titled Methods, Approaches, and Techniques for Privacy-Preserving Data Mining. You may start your presentation, sir. Kanaya, sir, if you're here, then you can start your presentation. It seems he's not there, so we'll be moving ahead with our next presenter, Jyotsna S. Gaikwad, with their paper titled Multicore System Classification Algorithms for Scheduling in Real-Time Systems. Ma'am, you may start your presentation.
Hello.
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Please let me share my screen.
Sure, ma'am.
Now my screen is visible.
Not yet. Yes, ma'am, it is visible now.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic is multi-core system classification algorithm for scheduling in real-time systems. First, we will go to the abstract. This paper presents technique for real-time scheduling of mixed task sets on multi-core architecture. This work primarily focuses on the classification algorithms for scheduling in real-time systems within the context of multi-core systems. The utilization of the partition earliest deadline first technique is employed in the scheduling of these recurring jobs. Now go to the introduction. Real-time embedded systems are used in diverse domains like consumer electronics, automotive electronics, telecommunications, avionics, robotics, and multimedia systems. It is used to enhancing resilience and flexibility, which addressing intricate customers' requirements by focusing on heightened processor efficiency and software complexity. There are the challenges of elevated processor efficiency, like employing a shrinking approach to enhance CPU clock rates, resulting in increased power consumption and heat generation. So we need to shift to the multi-core processors. Hardware and manufacturers integrating multiple core onto a single chip to address power consumption and heat challenges. Recent growing trends towards multi-core processors. There significant adoption of multi-core processors in real-time embedded systems for improved performance and efficiency. So utilization of multi-core architectures, enabling enhanced performance and efficiency through the utilization of multiple processor cores in contemporary computing systems. There are challenges in real-time scheduling, that managing task sets with diverse types of tasks while adhering to the tight time constraints. And the innovative approach in real-time scheduling is the exploring and proposing novel methods to effectively manage these task sets in the multi-core systems. There are intercore communication in multi-core processors, design facilitating efficient distribution and allocation of processing tasks among available cores, and this data processing and then return to the motherboard. This process data from each core delivered back to the main board, improving overall system performance compared to the single core CPUs. This is the architecture of multi-core processor. Here two processors are mentioned, and they both are having multiple cores and cache memory, which goes to the main memory and get back to the processors. We will see to the methodologies. Here we are seeing this real-time scheduling architecture, which is divided into the uniprocessor and multiprocessor. Multiprocessor is again divided into the partitioning scheduling and global scheduling, and combining the partitioning and global scheduling, we got the hybrid scheduling, and all these schedulings are available in the offline and online parts. In online schedulings, they are also divided into the two parts, that static priority and then dynamic priority. Static priority is again in the preemptive and non-preemptive, and the dynamic priority is plan-based and paced efforts. So the first issue is this task allocation issue. So we have to determine which processor core will be used to assign and carry out the task. So there are following categories which comprises this allocation issues. Number one is no migration is permitted. Here, each task is allocated to this certain processor and no migration is permitted. Second one is task level migration. In this, various processors may host distinct jobs for the same task, but only one job actually runs on each processor. And third one is work level migration. In this case, single job may be moved and executed on the various processors, but parallel execution of a job is still
There seems to be some issue with Jyotsona ma'am's network. Ma'am, shall we move ahead?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, ma'am. Then we'll be moving ahead with our next presenter. I'd like to invite Girisha HM to present the paper titled Perspective Transform-Based Lane Detection for Lane Key Persistence. So if you're here, then you can start your presentation.
Yeah. Instead of him, I'm the co-author named Arya KH. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Just a minute. Okay. So good afternoon. So our paper named Perspective Transform Based Lane Detection for Lane Key Persist. So we researched our project on lane detection algorithm using image processing algorithms. So what is lane departure warning? So it is a safety feature in ADAS technologies in autonomous vehicle. So the ADAS refers to autonomous driver assistance systems, which are helpful for vehicle safety and comfort. The main more important thing is lane departure system will alert the driver if he intentionally goes out of the lane. Like for example, if he doesn't switch on the indicator of his vehicle and he drifts out of the lane, there should be a warning, visible warning or a audible warning. So the main motivation behind this is as you can see in the third point, The Ministry of Road Transport of India reported that there are total of 4.6 lakh accidents happening every year, and there has been 16% of the accidents due to lane departure as well as the lane detection. So these are our literature survey which we did for our project. There were like 5 to 6 papers which were, but we have added only 5 papers. So each paper gave us a different methodology, but as we needed a smaller, efficient algorithm, we chose image processing instead of deep learning algorithms. So this is the block diagram for lane detection algorithm which we have used in our project. So as you can see, there is a camera which captures the image, and then after capturing the image, it goes to camera calibration, which calibrates the image according to the frame, and then it goes to thresholding of gray image, which gives black and white images, and then the perspective transform of that image takes place. After the perspective transform, the lane are detected. So the next slides are about the each block explaining. So camera calibration, as you can see, there is an equation which estimates the parameters of a camera using checkerboard images. And next is binary images. So it is a type of image segmentation algorithm where we can change the pixels of an image. It converts an image from color or grayscale to binary, like 0 or 1. If it's dark, it will show it as 1. If it's light, it shows as 0. And then when we come to perspective transform, it is nothing but converting images from 3D to 2D, or like bird's eye view. And then lane detection. So for lane detection, we have used a polynomial fitting equation, that is f of y is equal to ay square plus by plus c, which fits the line according to the lane detection. And next are lane mark detection equations, which you can see, and then visualization. So next, this is a DSpace Calixio HIL platform, which it is a rapid control prototyping application for hardware and loop systems. So DSpace gives us a HIL system for validating and testing of algorithms in scenarios. So before deploying any algorithm locally on vehicles, it should be tested rigorously on the HIL system so as to provide crucial safety and comfort to the passengers as well as drivers. So this HL system is used in many autonomous companies for testing each and every algorithm that is deployed on the vehicle. So we have used DSpace Calixio system. So this is the road and scenario generation which we have done. So this scenario and road generation is locally, like I'm from Hubli, Karnataka. So we have used a local road for the creation of the scenario. So it's as you can see from the image, there is the college, like there is a college and KLA Technological University to straight. And the first image shows the network, the road creation from Model Desk, a software called Model Desk in DSpace. And the second image shows us the fellows or the scenarios in the image, which will be in the motion desk. The motion desk is a software which is used to visualize these roads and scenarios. These are the different scenarios and scenario and scene which we have created. For example, from first image, you can see the front view of the vehicle, including the instrument clusters, and rest all are bird's eye view image. We tested our algorithm on this to validate and test our efficiency as well as accuracy. So this is the input and output images of our project. As you can see, the first image, there is invisible of a bit of a lane in the first image, and there is even though there is no lane, it detects accurately. So our system performs accurately. And conclusion. Okay. The lane detection algorithm which we created used image processing techniques, many image processing techniques, and it showed an accuracy of 95% when tested against other algorithms. But there are some inconsistencies because we have not used deep learning or neural networks, which will be even more efficient and accurate in detecting lanes in real world scenarios. So only keeping this algorithm in the vehicle does not satisfy because it is a crucial safety feature. So it should be having multiple backup algorithms as well as testing to be done. So we have referenced from many papers, and then thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for the presentation. My question is, first of all, what would be the cost of this prototype? And then can you comment on the compatibility or adaptation in the existing vehicles?
Okay, so coming to the adapting. So what happens is, as our algorithm isn't tested like on the vehicles, we cannot say if it works on the real world, because we have to test it on ECU, which we currently don't have in our college. So if we get any ECUs, we can test it and train. Also, we in our college we have a buggy which has been installed with cameras as well as lidar camera sensors. So which we'll deploy it in further future to test it on real world vehicle.
Okay, and what would be the approximate cost of this implementation? I mean,
So approximate cost is all about the dataset which should be taken, and the HL system costs a bit high, but the algorithm and the implementation part isn't that costly, because it all depends on the dataset and the training of it.
okay, okay, thank you, sir.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes, yes.
Uh, I was giving my presentation. I didn't understand when I went left or when the meeting was left. Hello.
Maybe Ishita can comment.
Ma'am, actually, you disconnected in between, and we weren't sure if you will be able to connect like soon enough.
I didn't understand when it was happened. Actually, I completed my presentation and then I saw that I am not in Zoom meeting. So what should I do now?
I think you had covered 3/4 of the content,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay.
So we can go ahead. I mean, no need to repeat it again. We got the concept.
Okay.
There were no
Okay.
questions.
Okay,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Since Sir Kanaya is back with us, I'd like to ask Sir Kanaya to present his paper titled Methods, Approaches, and Techniques for Privacy Preserving Data Mining. Sir, you may start your presentation if you're here.
Ma'am, is
Kanaya,
it,
please go ahead.
ma'am, is it is visible?
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Namaste to all team. I'm here to present the presentation on the methods, approaches, and the technique of the data privacy preserving data mining. First of all, I will make it clear that this paper I have published in this presentation, that is purely on the theoretical base. So my content will be that introduction part, methodology, motivation, objective, scope, method, approach, and techniques, and then last will be the references. First of all, I will say that what the data privacy. Here we will come to know that the data privacy, that is one of the honor is there and the present and the data is there. So if we are passing to this other, then what we have to hide and what we have to give them to make that clear that what that every they cannot take our own data and they can use it, because that is a third party entity and then it causes. So good security model we have to keep on the data secure. Here, that one thing I will make it sure that privacy is the only the is the logical security of data, not the traditional security of the data. That is example that access control is there, that theft hacking is there, that is all things. So next we will move to the motivation. What motivated me? So I will make it clear that I was making one of the privacy preserving model on the data on the hospital database. There I came to know that I was able to read one and other papers, and I was not being able to conclude that which method we have to continue, because on every papers one method they were capturing. So from there I came to know that one paper should be there, that all the methods and that approaches should be there, so that we can easily come to know the differences, and that and we can move and we can decide accordingly. Now the objective, what will be the objective? This objective will be that if on the one platform's technique will be there, all the methods and technique approaches will be there, then we will be able to decide, we can take the decision, we can know that what the advantages and disadvantages there, and later on that we can be able to explain all the differences, and we can decide that which methodology we can apply for our programs and process further for it, and accordingly we can calculate that of how much effectivity is on the different data. So this scope will be that proposed this proposed work that scope will be that easily we can create our the framework using the different privacy models and approaches. This technique will keep more our data. Which technique will keep our data more secure, that we can conclude with this easily. We will be able to know that, and this will help the designing the new models in the very easy way. First, it will be that the privacy processing data mining, PPDM tech. In this technique, we will be able to know that on the knowledge, this allow the knowledge extraction from the large databases. So how we can go there. There the permissions are required. So the leakage of the sensitive information will be there, that can be passed or not from there. So in this, we can modify the data, and or else we can remove some of the part of the data, so that meaning will not be the changed, but the data, this exact data will be not there, and the meaning will not be changed, and accordingly we can provide to the others, so they can get that what we want to say, and exact form will be there thus. So, and accordingly we can pass out. In this method, this technique will be used. Next, it will be that privacy preserving data publishings. In this database, the data user will be third party, their privacy preservation is required. So how we can preserve there. Suppose for that example, the data of that hospital will be there, or some traveling passenger will be there. So there, before publishing, we will cite all the preservative measures should be taken to avoid the leakage and sensitive information. So other part will be the data collection privacy. In this, the original data will be there. In that randomization process, we will do that data randomization. We will do then the original and distribution part will be there. Means in three part this in this process, three part it will be there. So using this all the three steps, we can send that data to the third party, and they can use, and accordingly we can save our the original data also. Next it will be data publishers, that in the earlier part we have explained. In the same way, it will be their original database. We will change that existing database, and then we will provide to the third party, and accordingly they will use, and that original data we will keep with us ourselves. In the privacy preserving and association rule, here the suppose that D is the source database, means main database, and that is the D, and R is the set of relevant association rules, and from that D we can mine that the data. Means the goal will be to transfer the D into the database D dash. So the most association rule R is still mined from the D dash, while other representative sensitive association are hidden. This the main database that D dash. From D dash we will provide the data, but the main database that D will be hidden with us. Means that will be to the main that will be to the main goal persons, and accordingly this rule mining will occur. Next, suppose that as earlier database publisher, we have shown that the database D will be there. Apply the transformation method will be there. In the diagram method we have shown that and D dash will be there, and from the from D dash mining which data will be mined, they will use. Means here also database D will be preserved. Now the other is the privacy preserving generalization and flip it. In generalization, we will change with the general word. Suppose, for example, I have explained that aquafine mineral water is there. That can be changed with the mineral water. Means the generalization terms we can use. In flip bit, that means they suppose for example, we will see that the two column is the sunflower cooking oil and the Saras pure ghee. In this digital form, that is 1 and 0. That bit format will be there. Suppose here we will have in second, you can see that cooking oil, that earlier it was 1, that flip what we have changed to the 0. In the ghee also we can say that the second that 1 and 0 is 0 is limited, that can be converted into 1. Means we can change into the bit form, and that can secure our the privacy form. Next method what we are using, that hiding sensitive association rule. In this through the diagram we will check see that first of all that will the original database. There the generalization association we will apply. Set of sensitive association rule will be applied. Next, the association rule hiding algorithm will be there, and modified database will be there. D-dash and modified database that will be used by the third person. Still, that original database will be that the parental forms. The next part it will be that D-closeness privacy model. Here the sensitive characteristic distribution is the main table, and its organization in an equivalence must be to the near to the one of the another model to work. In this, suppose for example, we say that P is the P that P will be the distribution of the some data attributes in the equivalence class of the Q, and that this distribution we will form in that equation form. It will be the distribution P comma Q that will be less than T, that will be less than or equal to 2 T. Means here that in that nearest form method you will use. Suppose the one of the data will be that, and that what the meaning will be the nearest to the original forms, and that we will provide to the third person, and accordingly they can use, and our the database will be secure there. Next part is that e-differential privacy model. Here is that here D1 and D2 with the two database with the differences of numbers more than one record each, and here K with the random functions. Means the one two database, suppose we have taken D1 and D2, and there the K will be that other random functions, so that we will mix in the two forms, and accordingly we will provide, so that the ranges of it will be there, and accordingly they can change database will be provided there, and other that what we have means that will be with us, and accordingly we can subtract and we can put with ourselves, and so that original database will be there with us. Next will be the perturbation method. In this method, the construction of the database in each data dimension separately. Means database will there the dimensions will be that separately that will be deconstructed, and accordingly we will provide to the others. That dimension form that will be dimensions centric data mining methods. Presume the dimensions independently. Next, that is the condensation method. In this also create the clusters with a specific constant in the data set. We suppose one of the data set is there that the changes will do that will be there in the cluster forms, and that a specific constant will be there, and it will be called as a condensation, because it uses the compacted clusters statistic in generated pseudo data. This approach involves condensing data into the predefined groups, varying size. Each group with a minimum of the size K maintain a specific static correlating with that privacy layer. And the third, that is cryptographic techniques. In this cryptographic method, that new branches are there for privacy preserving data mining has arisen. In this cryptographic method, another area that data mining that safeguard privacy has been immersed. Two primary factors. Let's cryptographic offers a clearly defined privacy parameters with the tools and the diversity and measuring the privacy. Second, a variety of cryptographic technique and structures can be used to construct data mining algorithm that protects users the main privacy, main data privacy. And these all are the references that we will have taken the paper from where that ideas we have taken and examples we have taken, and we will have kept together.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for the presentation. My question is, have you done any comparative analysis of these different techniques which you have studied based on some common parameters?
In the paper, we will have mentioned that all the advantages is, suppose one method we have taken, and accordingly the example together with that limitation and advantages, disadvantages we will have kept. Means table form we will have not made, because the overall table is one example, two example you have taken, there the differences you have shown in table form, that is in the paper I have shown.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. we have our next presenter, Girisha HM, with the paper titled Perspective Transform Based Lane Detection for Lane Keep Existence. You may go ahead, ma'am.
Ishita, he has already
sorry,
presented.
बोल भाई मेरा एक presentation चालू थी इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ.
Okay.
Yeah.
हाँ
So we'll be proceeding ahead with Avinash Sahu.
हाँ.
So please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Is my screen visible right now?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Good afternoon, everyone. My respected all the panelists. I'm Avinash Sahu, and I'm going to present on the topic predicting groundwater level fluctuations using hybrid SVM SSA algorithm in Cuttack, Odisha, a case study. And these are my presentation outline: introduction, literature review, objective of present study, study area, methodology, results and discussions, conclusion, and finally the references. Now, coming to the introduction, as it is known globally that groundwater is considered one of the most valuable natural resources for fresh water, and also in maximum catchment, groundwater serves as the sole source of water, because a lot of people depend on only groundwater to meet all their needs. There is and we all know that there is a significant increase in the demand for groundwater because of increase in population, urbanization, industrialization, and also it has been studied that it is the requirement of groundwater is going to increase more and more in the near future. So now the main thing is that also it is seen that the water table depth that may vary seasonally because of the hydraulic properties, the quantity of evapotranspiration extracts, and other natural occurrences, because groundwater depends on a lot of hydrological parameters, so it varies in different places. Now, coming to the literature review, there has been a lot of studies in this related of prediction of groundwater level. Those are like they have used neural networks, and they have used support vector machines, adaptive neural fuzzy inference system, ANFIS, and so on. And also in latest trends, they have the researchers are using LSTM, that is a deep learning model. So but we know that this simple or the conventional model, they have a lot of problem, like to optimize. Like what happens is that they sometimes fall in local minima, and their computational time is also very high. So what gradually led to this is that more optimization algorithms have been developed, and those algorithms have been used to optimize the parameters of these conventional models, like the GWO, that is Grey Wolf optimization, GOA, grasshopper optimization algorithm, and a lot of algorithms like that are there. But in present study, I have used SSA, that is self swarm optimization algorithm, for that what it used that optimization algorithm to optimize the parameters of the support vector machine model. And for that, this is the objective of my present study, to predict groundwater level by using SVM SSA model, and also to see that which one is better model, that is the normal conventional SVM or the SVM SSA model. Now, coming to the study area, as this is a case study, I've taken a study area that is Cuttack district of Odisha, and these are the details about the study area. That is, it is situated between latitude 20 degree 3 minutes, 20 degree 40 minutes north, and longitude 84 degree 58 minutes and 86 degree 20 minutes east, and it covers an area of around 3932 square kilometers. And the temperature here is usually maximum temperature is 42 degrees Celsius, and the minimum in winter, that is 7.5 degrees Celsius. And this is the study area that is in Cuttack. And I have just, because this is a conference paper and it has page limitations, I have just used one, I have taken just one observation well, that is the data. The input data I have taken from just one observation well. Now, the methodology part, that is the support vector machine model. This is a very well-known technique, but this came after, because neural net, this is a part of neural net, but after the ANN showed a lot of problems, so support vector machine model came, and it is based on the principle of structural risk minimization. It has a lot of advantages like shorter training time, fewer training samples, and improved classification effects, and so on. And these are few equations related, mathematical equations related to the model. And the main thing that I used is that the salp-swarm optimization algorithm, it is inspired by the foraging behavior of the salps, which are present under inside the water. And what happens is that it does, and a lot of things it does a lot of what they search a lot of things, and they follow a particular route, like lot of GWO, and all these are what we call it. These are called naturally or natural algorithms. I mean, based on the what natural things happens, these are based on all those things. And so this is the few mathematical equations related to this, and this is the flow chart of the SVM SSA model. It is a support vector machine combined with search optimization algorithm, and this is the thing. Now coming to the the main part is that all those things which I discussed methodology those are very common, and that can be used in lot of studies like hydrological parameters. There is rainfall prediction, flood prediction. So my topic is groundwater level. So main thing is that how my model performs while predicting the groundwater level. So I use 3 parameters, that is RMSE, root mean square error, R square, that is coefficient of determination, NS, that is Nash couple efficiency, and these are the mathematical formulas of those equations of these assessment parameters. Now mainly coming to the discussion part. Now we can see that this is the final table. Actually, I have taken 5 input combinations. That is, first I have taken relative humidity, then I have taken relative humidity and precipitation, then relative humidity, precipitation and groundwater level of that particular month. Then of 3 and the fourth I introduced is that of that 1 lag time, that is T-1, groundwater level of T-1, and the fifth input combination I took all those 4. And I introduced T-2. Also, I have taken like T-3, T-4, but not lot of improvement were showing in the results. So I have just stopped in that is fifth combination. And this is the result. That is, I have taken 3 parameters. These are the 3 parameters, 3 input, 5 input combination, and 3 evaluating parameters. So we can see that the fifth model, that is for the fifth input combination for both conventional SVM and hybrid SVM SSA, we can see that we obtain the highest. We know that, yes, and one more thing, we know that the RMSE must be lowest of all, and the R square and NSE must be nearer to 1. So we can find that the SVM SSA fifth combination, we can find that this is the training and this is the testing phase. We can find that during the training phase, the highest is obtained for the fifth combination. Also during the testing, we find that the highest is obtained for the fifth combination. And when I compare both, like I have taken 2 models, so when I compare both the models, I can find that the hybrid model is showing the best result. That is the highest NSE and R square value during the training and testing, and the lowest RMSE value when we compare both the models. So these are the things which shows that this hybrid model performs better than the conventional model. Now coming to the graphical interpretation, I have taken mathematical parameters to show that the hybrid model is better, and also the graphical representation. So graphical representation I have taken here, like we can see the scatter plot. So it is the plot between actual and predicted groundwater level, and we can see that when the SVM model is concerned, then we can see that the scatter, the plotted thing is lot more scattered. Like when we see the 1-1 line in the middle, we see that the predicted and actual value, that is more scattered. But when we consider the SVM SSA model, we see that the scatter of the predicted and the actual value, those are less scattered, which shows that, and that is, we can say that the 1-1 reference line, it is closer to the 1-1 reference line, which shows that the hybrid model performs better. Also, I have taken time series plot, which we can see that the observed value is taken, that is observed means which I have taken from the CWC data I have taken, then that is there, and also the predicted or simulated groundwater value. We can see that there is a big gap. There is a big gap between the observed and the predicted value. But when we take the hybrid model, we can see that the gap between the actual and predicted value is less. So this shows that the hybrid model can predict the groundwater level much observed value. So this is one second type of representation, and the last representation which I have taken is that the box plot, which also shows that the hybrid model is predicting data more closely to the observed ones compared to the conventional model. Now coming to the conclusion, we can see that the groundwater level, as it is more precious nowadays, so we need to precisely estimate the groundwater level. For that, we used SVM and hybrid SVM model for Cuttack district, and we know Cuttack is it is a more urbanized district nowadays, so a lot of pressure is being put on the groundwater level. So that's why I have taken this study area, and I have taken 3 parameters, that is RMSE, R square, NSE, and also we can see that from graphical representation also that the hybrid model outperformed the standard or conventional SVM model. But there is also a no freelance theorem that says that no particular model, like if I say SVM SSO shows better in ground truth level, that doesn't mean it will show better in flood prediction. So gradually these models we can just say that these models keep on increasing, and it will show different results when we take different parameters. And these are the few references we have taken. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. My question is, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What are the challenges you faced? Because there are so many factors impacting on that groundwater level. Like, what are the different challenges you faced, and what would be the solution proposed for that?
Actually, challenges is that mainly the thing in neural network, we know that data matters the most. So actually, what is the thing is that we got the data from the CWC, that is CWC Bhubaneswar. They have their office, Central Water Commission, and we got the data from groundwater data from there, and the IMD, that is Indian Meteorological Department. I got the rainfall and the humidity data from there. So that only was the main thing, because we have to write from the department and all those things. And the groundwater level, actually, if I say that I have not gone to the field to collect the groundwater level data, as data is there in the institute or the office. So I just, that took time to collect the data.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. We have our last presenter, Sunil Kumar Nahek, with his paper titled Unveiling Driver Behavior Through CNN LSTM, BILSTM, Analysis of Operational Time Series Data. So please go ahead with your presentation.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're audible.
Thank you, madam. Just I want to share my slide.
Sure, sir.
Now it is visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Please go ahead.
So good evening, ma'am. Good evening, panelists all. And I'm going to present my paper here, Unveiling Driving Behavior Through CNN LSTM, PLST Analysis of Operational Time Series Data. The abstract is this paper, in this paper aims to establish a driving style recognition method that is highly accurate, fast, and generalizable. Here we consider the lack of data types in the driving style classification task and the low recognition accuracy of widely used unsupervised clustering algorithm and single conventional neural network methods. First, we propose a method to collect the information on the driver's operation time sequence in view of the imperfect driving data. Here we design a framework. By that way, we plan to get the accuracy level more, and also henceforth we got the one level which is considerable. Now, secondly, extract the driver style features through the conventional neural network. Then for the collected temporal data, the long short-term memory network model is added to encode and transform the driving features to achieve the driving style classifications. The result shows that the accuracy of the driving style recognition reaches over the 93%, while the speed is improved significantly. The introduction of this paper. Advanced driver assistance system can improve the driving comfort and safety, but there are still imperfections in their powerful features that lead to prejudice and limited vision's reliance on the ADAS systems by drivers. The roots of the advanced driver assistance system at this stage are in assistance, and the driver is still the main operator of the vehicles. However, the behavior and driving style of the different drivers varies enormously, which places greater demands on the ability of the personalize the vehicle in terms of the driver tuning and the threshold of the triggering the ADAS capabilities. So taking the above into consideration, the individual driving behavior of the driver should be considered while designing the vehicle system, which can have a significant impact on the safety performance of the vehicles. The development of vehicle intelligence also required the vehicle to be able to adopt the driver's driving styles and provide the appropriate assistance. However, the current development of the vehicle parameters using different drivers is not only time consuming and labor intensive, but also the subjectively influenced by the different driving styles. Therefore, the development of the system that can accurately identify the driving styles of the vehicle driver is of great importance for the development of the intelligent vehicles. As of now, there exist many studies focusing on the driving styles, and these studies generally rely on three methods. We have gone through around 50 literature reviews, and from there we found there are traditional questionnaires based research method and visual recognition based method, non-visual driving signal based research method. But we propose basically the mainstream research method are based on the vehicle driving signal, since the visual based method suffers from the inherent problems that cannot be eradicated, including invasion of the driver privacy, etc., and more influenced by the environmental lights. Methods based on the questionnaires, that those proposals already there, and we have taken from there. The research on the current questionnaire survey methods for driving style primarily focus on the design of the questionnaires, and the widely used research methods are the driver style questionnaires and multi-dimensional driving style inventory. The driver style questionnaires has been developed from the questionnaires and the principal component analysis, and its validity has been verified by the corrections while behavioral indicators as well as in a usefulness in the representation of the drivers. Since its release in 2004, the multidimensional driving style inventory has been applied globally to diagnose the symbol of driver, thereby illustrating its usefulness in road safety. In one work, scenario used to the MDSI to study the different driving styles among the professional drivers, validating the influence of the work environment on the key actors of the driver deriving and expanding the direction of the driving style researches. The methods based on visual data, visual-based research method focus on the acquiring the driver image data to analyze the driver's behavior and extract the corresponding styles factors from it. Then another, the paper has proposed by collecting the driver information and vehicle trajectories through the in-vehicle camera and EMU, the mobile phones, and the classifier or the driver behavior within the accuracy. But our proposed is, we proposed here the framework of the driving style recognition method proposed in this paper. In this work, we first use the vehicle driving data obtained from the driving simulator with the real car the passing, then process the data in segment and input the finished data into the convolutional neural network and a long short-term memory model, networking model for classification. And finally, we obtain the driving style corresponding to the current data. This is the semantic of the data collection pathway. This includes the collecting driving data from the driving simulators and the real vehicle environments. In the simulator environment, we use the car scene to collect the data to driver using the Logitech G29 driving simulator. In this real car environment, use the Conway to obtain the driving data. So here, the data processing part of how we covered, considering the different in the dimension of the different data, we normalize the data. We project different data into the same fixed interval according to the threshold range of the data. For the collected data, the paper uses the fuzzy C-mean algorithm and the spectral clustering to obtain the corresponding driving style level of the drivers. Firstly, we use the like fuzzy mean algorithm, and there is the spectral clustering the algorithm. The number of categories of clustering is set is a K. The fuzzy mean clustering result of CFI. The clustering center is MJ, so the CFI is equal to CS of S, C of S. In this way, that the experimental result and discussion is that we evaluate the stability of the proposed driving style recognition method, which detect a total of 3 different driving styles: normally aggressive, normal line, and conservatives. For our own data set, we first use the data collected by the driving simulator to train the network, then adjust the network parameter and obtain the recognition accuracy of the model. And lastly, we use the data collected from the real cars to verify the accuracy and generalization ability to the framework. Then there is this is the comparison, the testing, the train accuracy, then the test accuracy, then the influence timing is there by using the CNN and LSTM. And CNN, previously there is a CNN only 80% was there. Right now there is a 94-34%. Then the model training result is here shown the final model training results where the different network parameters were adjusted to achieve the highest accuracy for both models. The result of the test set shows that the conventional neural network and the long short-term memory model is more accurate than the CNN only models, but it takes more time to training owing to its own complex network models. Then there is a conclusion. In this paper, a driving style classification method based on the driver operating signals and vehicle dynamic is presented. Driving data from different road conditions and different drivers in a simulator and environment is collected in this paper. And then the driving style labels are obtained using the combination of the unsupervised clustering and the voting methods. Then the conventional neural network and the long short-term memory network was then trained using the label and the driving data to realize the detection of the driving styles. This is examination of the real car data. The network proposed in this paper demonstrated high generalization ability along with the advantages of low cost and high efficiency. Okay, this is my paper, madam. Is there any query, madam?
No questions, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
I'd once again like to ask for, we do not have any more speakers. Anyone who is left with their presentation? Then this brings us to the conclusion of the session. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 8th version and the previous 7 versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 9th version in 2024. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Furthermore, all the papers have already been forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months, so kindly cooperate with the team of ICTCS 2023. I also thank our session chair, Ma'am Dr. Swati Nikam, for chairing this session. Thank you for your valuable presence on behalf of Team ICTCS 2023 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. I kindly request everyone to turn on their cameras for a quick snapshot of the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and take care.